So I'm talking to Penny Thatcher today, who's a parent at Wingrave. Can I have some background then? So are you your parent?
So my daughter is at MacIntyre school.
Yeah.
She's been there since she started at the end of December 2018, yes.
So since the lockdown's been in place, has she been attending school or?
She's been doing, I think they've changed it around slightly. So to start with, they were going into the classroom. Then I think for a while they've been doing schooling in their house.
So was that homeschooling?
They've been, so she lives at MacIntyre, but the school staff have been going into the house that she's in.
How's this affected your daughter, do you think?
It's been a bit of a mixed bag. We were able to see her. She normally comes home every Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
We do come up there to visit her as well. I think to start with, it was a mixture of great struggle because her usual routine was out the window in terms of coming home. Then later on, I think wasn't allowed to come home and we weren't allowed to see her. She actually did very well. I think she learned a lot more trust from the staff, and also I think the lack of transitions for her was very beneficial. So although she was really missing us and desperate to come home, she managed incredibly well.
Yeah. So on a normal routine, she would come home every weekend. Is that the way it used to work?
She normally gets picked up on a Sunday lunchtime, and then she comes home a Sunday afternoon. My husband and my youngest go out the house, so she's just with me. And then we go back via McDonald's. And then of course McDonald's was shut as well.
Yeah, I know. It's recently reopened, isn't it?
Yes, much to her joy. So she was still, when lockdown was happening, she was still coming home for a while because there was no set guidance as to what the staff were supposed to do. So until that happened, she was allowed to come home, with a lot of measures in place. And then I think obviously the care homes happened in the news where there was a lot of death, and they actually issued some guidance. So she wasn't then allowed to come home for about 5 weeks, I think.
Right, okay. That must have been difficult.
It was very difficult, especially as it was her birthday over that time.
Yeah. What do you think you've learned during this period?
I think that one of the things that I have learned is that I am so grateful for the service and where she is and the staff that look after her, because if she would have been in her previous placement, that would have shut.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how I would have managed with her at home.
Yeah.
Especially with my youngest at home having to do schoolwork, because she started secondary school in September, so she's in her first year, so she's having to do all her schoolwork at home. My husband's working from home.
Yeah.
If she'd had to come home, that I don't know what would have happened, because when she comes home, everything gets put away, everything gets tidied up. There's just basically anything that could potentially, like shower gels in the bath, that sort of thing, go out of reach. There's not much bath.
Yeah.
Thing. So it was in a way it was nice for us not to do that every Sunday, but we still took things up to her every Sunday. She'd still want her little routine to take her tea up.
Yeah.
And her egg fried rice that she gets. So yeah, it was. I think it's shown us that she can adapt and she can be resilient, but it's shown us as well how much transitions have an impact on her, and how much the consistency actually helps her.
Yeah. Have you been maintaining contact with her during it all?
Well, she phones me every day at 4 o'clock on her mobile, and she's also very active on Facebook Messenger.
Oh, right, okay.
And she does sneak her phone out the kitchen at other times as well. So in terms of the contact with her, day to day, that was pretty much the same as before.
Yeah. Do you think there's been any positives that have come out of this whole pandemic?
Definitely, I think it's sort of allowed people to kind of slow down and take sort of more basic things and more sort of natural things to sort of bring them into your mind and kind of focus on them more. Just allow people more time, kind of not be rushing around all over the place and having to be everywhere. And it's also shown us that, I mean, the staff are absolutely fantastic, and you know, they've been absolutely brilliant. And to know that they've supported her and managed her anxiety during this time has been, because it must have been hard for them as well, because I know they felt really bad that she couldn't come home. So I think, you know, it just goes to show what superstars there are, even though I already knew that. But
do you think it's going to have any long-term impact on kind of social care and the learning disabled community?
I would like to think so. There was a lot of issues that came out of this, especially to start with the whole thing about people going into hospital and having there was the whole thing about people with learning disabilities having DNRs put on them, and you know, without permission, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think hopefully this whole thing will put the care industry in a different light, and people might start realising its importance. But
I think people have a lot more recognised the role of the NHS and carers and how important they are, and which I already knew, but whether that will continue on, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's all down to Boris, isn't it?
You know, people in the care industry especially do need better pay, they do need better job security, and they do need better recognition. So, yeah.
What are you most looking forward to doing when this is all over?
That's a tricky one, because we didn't kind of tend to, because of the situation we've been in over the years, we're not the sort of people that go out loads or, you know, we don't have a wide circle of friends or anything. So I suppose it is literally just being able to go to our local brew shop and having a pint of beer out of a glass.
I actually find it quite comforting knowing that I don't have the pressure of having to do things.
It's a lot of people, definitely. My daughter, who's been doing homeschooling, she's loved it. Although we've had some tears over the work, she's loved not having to go to school.
Yeah, we've had a lot of sins with the people we support. A lot of people, we found that they don't want to be put onto a bus every day, because we deal with a lot of older people as well. They don't want to have to go to a day centre every day. They like being supported in their home. So
yeah, I think the whole transition thing has actually benefited a lot of people.
So what about your immediate community around you? Have you seen any changes there?
I think neighbours are talking to each other more than they did. I mean, most people around here we live, you say hello and they're quite friendly, but people have been having conversations with each other more than they did before. And there's a lot of people who've chipped in to help with the volunteer groups and things like that. So yeah.
And do you think that the information has been provided to the LD community in a way that they can understand?
Not at all. That's been left to the organisations that deal with the people with learning difficulties, and obviously they've got their own level of expertise, but there's been no support in terms of helping. I mean, I work at a special school, and there's been no guidance, no nothing as to this is how you should help people. I know there's a lady called Yvonne Newbold who's been doing a huge amount of work, and she's been doing questionnaires and stuff to help input to the NHS. My daughter kind of reads the news but kind of interprets her own version of it, and I think the amount of news that's very confusing for her.
Okay, brilliant. I think, is there anything else that you would wanted to put into this? I think all my questions you've covered brilliantly.
I just like to say that we are just so thankful and grateful for all the staff do for her, and we're just so grateful for the provision that she's got, and the staff are absolutely fantastic.
And we'll hear that now when they see this back, or hear this back.